Society is way too sexual and it is making you numb. That is the bitter pill to swallow in today's video. Society is controlling you and it's making you not enjoy your life, the one life you get, and you're too freaked out to enjoy it. You're too horny to enjoy it. Because society is making you numb and they're making you want to come. And you think it's fun until your time is done. Then from your thoughts you run. Because lies have been spun. I don't know where I was going with that. I was trying to be dramatic. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, welcome to the video. So let me ask you if this sounds familiar, alright? So you're in your bed, late at night, you're scrolling. What a surprise. You're scrolling and every video you're going through is the same old shit you always see. So you're seeing half naked women, you're seeing guys like doing pickups wearing those like weird glasses that recording people. Yeah, I know you watch those, by the way. You're probably seeing thirst traps, you're probably seeing like some new like hot takes about relationships, and you're probably seeing like girls talk about what they want from a man. You're seeing guys, flexing their, six pack and their brand new Ferrari. And the thing is, this doesn't even cause you to react anymore because you've seen it a million times. You just keep scrolling. You don't even acknowledge it anymore. And it's because, much like our friend over here, your brain is absolutely fried. 6-7 type shit. Where the hell's that type shit? Oh, that was cringe. See what a man does for some YouTube views, eh? See what it'll do. The truth is, we've been exposed to sexual content and just sexualization so much that it's making us numb. And not just numb in the sense of like, you can't feel anything down there. That's a whole different video. But I mean numb as in you literally don't feel anything during your regular life. Like regular life starts to feel boring. It's because you're overstimulated and you're underconnected. And now we all think that life feeling empty is normal. And now this emptiness that you feel, you think it's peace, but really it's just numbness disguised as control. And as someone who has experienced this in the past, I'm not just a random guy talking about this who has no experience in this. I'm someone who, for a long time, in my younger years, I was very overstimulated and I didn't have any sense of myself. I was just lost in the source. I don't want you to go through the same. So I'm gonna teach you how to not do the same shit, how to avoid these traps. And just in case you didn't know, this is the first video in my 3-arc video series, and today we're going to be discussing mainly things like distraction, numbness, and emotional healing. So how to stop running from yourself and actually finally allow yourself to feel again. So if you missed the last 2 arcs, I do recommend you go back and have a look on my channel. And I'll be honest, this arc right here, this is the most personal one for me because it's something I've experienced and I still do sometimes experience today. Okay, so let's talk about the culture of overstimulation, which overstimulation. Why did I say it's stimulation? Overstimulation, which as I'm sure you're aware is affecting millions of people around the world today. And it's mainly due to our little handy devices, our phones. Because in today's world, everywhere you look, you're just being sold ideas of sex, being sold ideas of wealth, being sold ideas of like people and things to compare yourself to. And all of these things are very surface level. They're all very like, I don't know, they're things that you can see, but you can't really know what it's like to experience them. So it's very easy to look at them and be like, oh wow, this is such an amazing thing, and pedestalize it, even though it lacks connection. Music videos, TikToks, adverts, everything is selling you sex. Everything is trying to sell you and convince you that you need to be having more sex. And when I was younger, like, I used to be obsessed with sex. I thought I cared about sex a lot, but it was more like I was very numb and bored of life, and porn, whatever you want to call it, that was the only thing that could kind of allowed me to feel stimulated and made me feel excited because I wasn't living right. Your boy was fucked up. Because again, like our friend here, if your brain is constantly being fed shit like, memes, random stupid funny shit, or just constantly asking where the girls, like where the hoes are, X, Y, Z, you're never gonna have time to really understand yourself and really understand what you care about. And it's gonna fry your brain. And when your brain is fried, when you're in a state of cookedness, everyday life, even the fun things that used to be fun, it doesn't stop hitting the same. I remember there was a stage where I didn't even enjoy playing video games anymore because I was so addicted to, whether it was, watching X-rated videos or just literally just scrolling on my phone for hours. As I said, I was very much down bad. I didn't realize that this wasn't some sort of phenomenon that was affecting me. It was just a symptom of a society that is allowing their control to be taken away from them all the time. Okay, let's get rid of Mr. Huz over here. I think he's had his time in the spotlight. Da, 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 da. So when I was a younger guy, me and Numbness right here, we were best friends, we were best pals, because I didn't really know what it felt like to really care about stuff. I didn't know what it felt like to be someone who was like really passionate, really excited about life and had like a purpose or something they wanted to achieve. I was kind of just going through every day, kind of just trying to make it by. I was living in survival mode basically. And you might relate to this, because one of the symptoms of this sort of lifestyle of numbness is mainly distraction. Distraction, because yeah, you might think that you're trying to distract yourself from feeling numb. So that's why you scroll. So that's why you play video games all day. So that's why you watch the hub or whatever. But really, what it is that these distractions are really a symptom of the underlying numbness that you have. Because I'll put it to you like this: when do you find yourself scrolling the most? When do you find yourself playing video games the most? Probably when you're having a internal battle with yourself. Maybe it's the times where you feel guilty. Maybe it's the times where you've promised yourself you would start something and you didn't do it, and now you're left with the feeling that you want to avoid. So in order to avoid that feeling of numbness, So in order to avoid that feeling of numbness that you get from constantly ailing yourself over and over again, you look for a distraction. And then you blame you blame the symptom rather than the root cause of your issue. Okay, what else? Numbness. Okay, another large part of this numbness is your identity. Do you identify as someone who is supposed to feel the way you feel? Again, I relate this to myself. For years and years and years, I literally thought that me feeling numb, like me not being excited about anything, me feeling depressed, me like kind of just not feeling anything really was normal. I thought that was just me. I thought that was how I was wired. And the reason I was unable to get out of the mindset was simply because I identified heavily with the mindset. That's the thing you have to understand, that the more you identify with something, the stronger your connection to that. Whether it's a feeling, an emotion, a behavior, even an activity. If you relate heavily to it, if you see whatever that thing is as part of you, it's part of your identity. And as we all know, if you don't have a strong sense of identity, it's very easy for you to feel numb. It's very easy for you to feel like, what's the point of being if you have nothing that you're attached to, nothing that you care about? So again, for example, when I was younger, I thought I was like a very like visual guy. I thought like I was really into, I'll be honest, I thought I was like, I just loved women. I thought, I just love looking at women all day. Does it sound bad? It probably does, but it's the truth. I thought I was a very visual guy, and it's simply because I was conditioned by being exposed to porn at a very young age to like believe this was something that I was attached to believe that this was something that was a part of me, when really it was just some behavior that I identified with strongly. Okay. So let's make a important distinction here between fantasy and reality. These are two things you need to have a strong grasp over, because if you don't, it's going to be very easy to manipulate you. It's going to be very easy to convince you of something that isn't true. And what I mean by this is simply that a lot of the things you see on social media, a lot of the things you see online, this is the fantasy realm. That comes down to the things you see on social media. So the type of lifestyle people post, this sort of content you consume, whether that's content about lifestyle stuff, whether that's content about like a relationship, dating kind of stuff. This is all in the realm of fantasy, simply because you are only seeing a very distilled version of reality that someone is trying to show you. So it's very important that you have a strong grasp on reality. So let's make a few distinctions between the two. So what are some things that you might come across when you are ingesting fantasy? It's usually things that are perfect. I can't flip and spell. Yeah, so it's usually things that are perfect, things that seem like there's no faults to it, things that seem like it just works magically. And this can even be things like porn. Let's be honest, yeah. When you're watching that shit, in your brain you're like, wow, this is like a perfect scenario. Like, this delivery guy just came to the house to deliver a pizza, and guess what? He's met by a big beautiful busty woman, and she's really into him. She sees that how she sees his potential, that he's really attractive and he's really he's got riz, and they're gonna do what should happen, and and that, my friend, is fantasy. Because the reality of sex and the reality of relationships is often very messy. Ankara messy. It's very messy. Shout out to Lino. Number 10. Yeah, like the reality of dating and most things in life is that it's going to be messy. There's not going to be some clean, sort of perfect version of it where everything goes smoothly. And then the more that you ingest this sort of content, whether it's sexual or just regular content that paints this image of that perfection of things just going smoothly, the less you're going to be able to understand that in reality things are difficult, things are messy, things don't always work the first time. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that's wrong because it's not perfect. Another fantasy that a lot of people have is that things happen fast. So whether, again, it's like on social media, you see your favorite content creator who's making content for a month and they've already got 1 million followers and they're suddenly in a Lamborghini and they're on a stream with Usher's Speed or they're doing whatever, and you think, wow, like they're so much better than me. Why can't I be like that? Like, look how fast they're succeeding. We've seen people on social media that are making money and, you know, they're showing off their flashy lifestyle. You're like, wow, how can they do this? Like, what's wrong with me? And it's because you're living in a fantasy world where results happen quickly. In reality, this is the truth. In reality, things happen very slowly. And this is going to be very, very frustrating to understand because it's something I have had to understand as I got older. Like, most things in life that are worth it, it takes time. It takes time to like really reap the benefits of hard work. It takes time to really like make progress in most things, man. Like, I feel like the idea of like things working out perfectly and fast is just insane. It's just insane, let's be honest. Let's be honest, you're far more likely to make progress if you're willing to be messy and accept slow progress. And what's another fantasy that we're kind of sold is that you can do everything alone. Now again, this is something, especially for men, that I really, really need to kind of get into your head, all right? You don't get any extra points for doing things alone. There's no extra token you get for being this sort of lone wolf Sigma guy who can figure out everything out by themselves. That's a fantasy again. Maybe you, like me, you like anime like protagonists who can figure out everything by themselves and, you know, kill 1,000 soldiers in one fight. But again, that's the world of fantasy, okay? And I think there's a saying that if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go long, go together. Something like that. But again, so the reality of that is connected. Wow, that's a very bad E. That E is atrocious. I'm going to leave it there. So yeah, the reality of it a lot of times is that if you want to actually make progress in life, you're going to need other people. You're going to need to rely on people. You're going to need the people in your life, maybe that's your family, your friends or connections, to really help you out. And I know there's this sort of like energy that a lot of us men have against asking for help, against having to rely on a community. But again, it's because we're sucked into this fantasy world where, you know, we can perfectly make fast progress by ourselves. Trust me, I've tried it. I tried to do the solo route. I tried to just, you know, grind, do everything by myself, and it is lonely and it's boring and it sucks, and I don't recommend it. I would definitely much rather recommend the messy progress where you're not always doing the right thing, but you're trying things, where you're being consistent, you're being slow but consistent, you're constantly showing up, and you're, you know, connecting with people. You're allowing people to lean on you, and you're leaning on others, and you're building together. And the last part of this fantasy that we're sold is that we're always going to be in control. That as a man, you always have to be in control. You have to be in control of your emotions at all times. You have to be in control of your woman at all times. You have to be in control of, like, you know, your business or everything. Like, you have to be some sort of control freak who's just doing everything by themselves because, you know, you're in control and you might somehow manage to do everything perfectly, quickly and by yourself. Sure. When in reality, let's see if I can spell. That says vulnerability. So the reality of it is, hey, if you want to make progress in your life, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable enough to even say that, hey, this is what I want. I want to achieve this thing. That's not where I am right now, but I want to achieve this thing. And I don't know enough to do it. Can someone help me? I don't mind showing up as myself, being messy. And I don't mind that it's going to take me a while to make progress and that, you know, the motion might be slow. I don't mind. And I don't mind if I have to lean on people and ask for help, because you can only do these things if you're willing to be vulnerable. And as a lot of guys especially who have maybe gone down the route of, you know, watching a lot of X-rated content, a lot of like high value male content or whatever, this is what they preach and they teach you, that you have to be perfect, you have to be able to take action and be productive very quickly and can do it all by yourself, and that you need to be in control, you have to be the boss, you have to be the guy. And that's It's all fake. Ask them how they got in their position. Ask them how they got to be who they are today. They're going to say, well, I messed up a lot of times. It was messy. And it took a while to make progress. It was slow. And I had to rely on my friends and my brothers and my business partners because I was connected. And I'm telling you this right now because I'm being vulnerable. Again, like, when it comes to making progress in life, when it comes to any sort of sector you're in, you need to understand that you need to adhere to reality. Not this fantasy idea of being this perfect individual who has got it all sorted out. That's not how it really works. And as I said, a lot of guys feel like this sense of control is what makes them a man. They don't feel like you're able to be a man if you're vulnerable. They don't feel like you're able to be a man if you're, messy and you're not always, the best presented. And it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. A lot of the strongest people that I know, especially the strongest men that I know, they're very vulnerable. They open up to me. They tell me what they're dealing with. They tell me about their problems. They tell me that, they don't always have the answers. And there's no shame in that. But the most insecure men are the men that feel like they always have to be in control. The men that feel like they have to do everything alone. The men that feel like they're not enough unless they're making fast progress. And the men that don't feel comfortable enough in their own skin and their own identity to let go of perfection. And the truth is, if you want to get over any addiction, whether that's addiction to lust, to greed, to food, to anything, you have to be in touch with reality. You have to be able to accept that the progress you're going to make is going to be slow and messy, you're going to mess up, and that you need other people. But you need to be vulnerable, that you have to admit that you're struggling with something. Because sensitivity does not mean weakness, and it never has. And the thing is, you might be sitting there right now thinking, man, I don't care about any of this. I just want money. I just want bitches. I just want to have fun. I just want to do this. I'm telling you, this is fantasy. Again, you're stuck in this fantasy. Just wanting these things doesn't mean you're going to achieve it. Just wanting these things doesn't mean that that's what you actually need. That's the thing as well. Because I used to think that I was one of the people that just didn't care about anything. I thought like I was just going to be one of the guys that was just going to skate through life and somehow, just make it, whatever that means, without caring about anything. But the truth is, I did care. Anyone that's ever told you that I don't care about that, they do care. People that don't care about things don't have to tell you. The actions tell you. Because I just didn't know how to process my feelings. So I numbed myself with stimulation. I numbed myself with porn. I numbed myself with video games. I numbed myself with drugs and alcohol. But the thing is, numbness cannot protect you. All it does is deflect and basically like delay the pain that you're gonna feel. Okay, so how do we get more in touch with reality and let go of the fantasy? Okay, so how do you get back in touch with reality? How do you literally touch grass again after being an absolute zoinked out, brain dead piece of shit? Excuse my French, but yeah. I think the first thing you need to do is accept boredom. Get used to being bored. I know this is going to be something that even me right now, I still struggle with, to sit in my boredom, but I'm a lot better than I used to be. Because something you don't realize is that boredom is the key to everything you're looking for. You want direction. You want to feel like you're in control. You want to feel like you know what you want to do with your life. You're not going to be able to achieve any of this if you're constantly stimulated. You're not going to be able to achieve any of this if you're constantly absorbing things, if you're constantly consuming, eating, watching, scrolling. There's no time for you to actually process the information that you've absorbed in your life, let alone in that day. So get used to being bored again. Get used to sitting and just looking into nature, looking into the distance and thinking. That is where I've come up with a lot of my best ideas, a lot of my best thoughts, and a lot of the times where I've really been able to center myself and understand, okay, I think it's time to pivot. I want to go in this direction. I want to do this. I want to try this. So yeah, be bored. And that is obviously linked to unplugging. So by that, I literally mean, if you have to right now, yeah, if you're like your screen time's looking crazy right now, it might be time to take a break from the apps. It might be time to take like a couple of weeks off TikTok, Instagram, all that shit. Because let's be honest, like, are you missing anything really? A couple chuckles, a couple, a couple 6, 7. Alright, it's not that big of a deal really, especially if it's for your benefit. Just get rid of it, man. It's a waste of time. Take a couple of weeks to break from it and see if you're actually happier with it, and you might surprise yourself. Also, you want to get in touch with your inner child. So all this means to me is getting back in touch with things that you actually enjoy, getting back in touch with doing the things that actually fulfill you, that actually make you feel good about yourself. Like, I guarantee there's things that you used to do when you were a kid that you feel like you're now too old to do, you're too grown up to do. Go and do those things. Whether that's going to go play football, whether that's going to like draw, whether that's doing like a colouring book or something, or reading like a old Harry Potter book that you used to read when you were a kid. Get back in touch with that little child inside of yourself, and you realise that they were always there, but you're kind of just silencing them. You didn't need to. And lastly, and this kind of encompasses all of it, just slow down. Just take a touch. Just settle. I think nowadays too many of us are in a rush. I don't even know where we're going, but we're in a rush. We're running here, we're running there, we're looking at this thing, we're looking at this thing, buying this thing, going on this thing. It's like, when do we have time to really just reset and allow our nervous system to reset? Because a lot of times we're just constantly consuming stuff. We don't have any time to really just like sit with ourselves. That's why I think things like journaling and meditation, I know you're probably bored of hearing that, but it is very important, and I found it very helpful for myself. Okay, so if you want to get in touch with reality, you have to understand that your ability to be bored and to unplug and to connect with your inner child is going to allow you to slow down and to accept slow motion, to accept that making progress on the things you care about often takes time, and to accept that in order to really show up in your reality as a version of the person you want to be, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be able to really express your desires, to express that maybe you're not the person you want to be yet, but you're working towards it, and express that with yourself, to not always live in shame, to not always be, shitting on yourself or saying yourself how fucked up you are. That doesn't help. That doesn't help, because you need to understand that every time you're talking bad to yourself, what you're doing is you're talking bad to that inner child. You're telling that inner child inside of you that they're not good enough. You're telling that inner child in you that, they're no better than just sitting in front of the TV and scrolling, and that's all you're feeding them. And I know in your heart of hearts, you know that you're better than that. You know that you deserve better than that. So if you are feeling empty right now, just know that it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's more like there's something wrong with the society that we're in, and you've allowed yourself to be a victim to it. Because let's be honest, you're just a bit overstimulated right now. So slow down and allow yourself to feel again, and stop confusing peace with numbness. So if you did learn something from this lesson and you'd like to pick my brain on this subject or anything else that I've covered on this channel, feel free to use the link in my bio to join the waitlist for one-to-one mentoring. Other than that, speak to you next time.